on today's show.
My mom she thinks she's on the staff too sometimes. And so she's always watching something and say, hey, you need to put this in for your girl. So you get it from all areas, but you take it in stride.
Now, does she get to sit on the bench from time to time if she has all this advice?
Oh, no. But she's across the way. I can see her in my peripheral. She's across the way when she comes to the game. But when I come back to the house, we have a coach's roundtable. So she tells me what we did wrong or what we did right.
This is the Freeze Your Tail Off episode of the Canned Sports Chatter. Although it's warming up, it's still freezing out there. Like, seriously, if I had a tail, it'd be right there on the ground. It'd be off. It's cold outside, but warmer temperatures are ahead, and maybe tournament schedules are getting back to somewhat normal for some of our mid-season tournaments. Thanks for coming in on the show. It is Canned Sports Chatter, a statewide high school sports entertainment show streaming on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. My name is Cole Reif. The guest today, we have a Jack Godar with St. James Academy, part of that football team this past fall for St. James. He'll talk about some of the best players he has faced in his high school career. Scott Paske with KSHSAA Covered, one of the staff writers, will run through a Newton wrestling tournament that he was able to cover earlier this month. Pechone Stepps with Fort Scott, girls basketball coach, will be on the show. Robert Kelly, one of the Kansas scouts for Prep Girls Hoops, he'll be running through some of the recruits that we need to know throughout the state. Curt Graves with Tescott basketball will be on the show, along with Amaya Perez with Newman University women's basketball, and out of Dodge City High School will be our next level talent. And then the show will wind down with an excellent highlights from the radio. Erik Stone with the Russell radio station covering the Russell Broncos will be with us at the end of the show with one of his highlights. Let's get things rolling with Jack Godar and our leadoff question. It is today's leadoff question with Jack Godar, member of the St. James Academy football team. Jack, your question, who's the best player that you played against so far in high school?
Okay, well, I think in this past season, I would definitely say either Devin Davis, one of my we go back a little bit. He's a good guy, really good player. Definitely had some struggles against him. Who else? So last year, my junior year towards the start of the season, it was like one of my first times actually getting thrown in on varsity. And we were playing Blue Valley Northwest. And it was like towards the end of the first half. And for some reason, they decided to put Andrew Babaloa up at nose tackle. So that was definitely kind of interesting because he's a pretty big dude. So that was a pretty fun welcome to varsity for me.
Anything that stood out about those guys like that made them so good?
Yeah, I mean, definitely size. I mean, for being that big, they can both move really well. And, yeah, definitely – I'm not the tallest, but, yeah, they definitely made me work. So it was a good experience.
What were some of those snaps like? Like, what were some of those experiences like going up against them?
I mean, definitely against Babaloa, I was a little scared, not even going to lie, because of the first couple big varsity snaps. So, but it was towards the end of the first half, so it wasn't really too bad. And it was pretty good after that, the rest of the game. And Devin was definitely really good. They ran that four front, sorry. And yeah, he's a good ball player. He's definitely got a good future ahead of him. And yeah, he made me and all my teammates work that game. So yeah.
Did you have any good plays in that ball game against those guys? Like, do you remember any specific snaps that went pretty well?
I mean, I remember a couple of plays against Meyers where I was playing guard and center that game. I was kind of just floating, and this was this last season, and definitely opened up some big holes. Had a couple of big runs that game, especially in the second half. When John Hornbeck came in, he cracked open for a big QB draw run. And yeah, that was a pretty fun game. It was the first opening game in our new Marion Stadium, so that was awesome too.
Nice. Like when you're playing against those guys, like, I mean, especially afterwards, like watching film, like do you kind of gain anything from that? Do you learn anything from, going up against those types of players?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely technique is a big thing. Watching my footsteps against guys like that, some of the speedier guys, being able to evaluate myself and evaluate like the people I'm going against, different techniques that people have, whether it's speed moves, power moves, stuff like that. It's good for me to see how I did against certain things and what I need to improve on.
That is Jack Godar, member of the St. James Academy football team, with our leadoff question. Thanks to Jack Godar coming on the show. He recently announced his commitment to Simpson College. Big-time player out of St. James Academy with our leadoff question, Jack Godar. We'll take a break, come back, talk some wrestling with Scott Paske, one of the KSHSAA Covered staff writers. He was able to cover the Newton Wrestling Tournament earlier this month. Big-time event. Scott Paske will talk about it with us after this.
Power outages don't wait for a convenient time, and neither should you. Right now is the perfect season to invest in a standby generator from Wheatland Electric Cooperative. With low monthly payments and special financing for co-op members, reliable backup power is more affordable than you think. We'll help you survey, install, and finance a Generac standby generator, all with professional installation you can trust. Protect your home, your comfort, and your peace of mind before the next storm hits. Get a free quote today and make life without power a thing of the past. Visit us online or call us to get started today.
The key to a great game is sportsmanship. It is essential to show respect to your opponents, teammates, coaches, and yourself. Playing hard, being fair, and having fun are what sportsmanship is all about. Whether you win or lose, congratulate your team and opponents for their hard work and dedication. Good sportsmanship is about demonstrating integrity, fairness, and respect. Let's show the world what true sportsmanship is all about this season.
Getting right back at it here for Ken Sports Chatter. It's time for our story time, our opportunity to talk to one of the staff writers for KSHSAA Covered, and joining us is Scott Paske. Hey, Scott, thanks for joining us once again. For you, like, how far out do you have your schedule made for as far as what games and what matches you're going to go cover?
I don't know. The short answer is May. It kind of feels that way right now, but no, it's you kind of look at it about a week at a time, and here in January, of course, you got a lot of great wrestling tournaments pop up every Saturday, and then with high school basketball, boys tournament week, followed by kind of predominantly girls tournament week here in the final 2 weeks of January. So it's if you can't find something to go to at this time of year, you're hurting. That's for sure. There's a lot going on.
Well, you were able to cover some wrestling, some really good wrestling earlier this month in Newton. What was that experience like? Yeah.
Here, just the middle of January, you can kind of set your watch to a really great tournament up at Newton. There are really good tournaments, really good wrestling tournaments around the state every weekend, it seems. But Newton is one of those that's been around. This was the 63rd annual boys tournament. They just started the girls tournament a few years ago and completed their fifth girls tournament. But the boys have been going for over 60 years, and it's just guaranteed to bring in just a really strong field. They bring in over 30 teams from around the state and all classes. It really has, the old Grand State feel, so to speak. And I think some wrestlers in that tournament would tell you it's probably harder to win the Newton tournament than it might be to win a state title. It's one of those where the caliber of competition is good. You'll get a good, it's really fun to see that good 5A or 6A kid take on a reigning 3-2-1A champion and just see how it plays out. I mean, this is the Newton is really the opportunity for that to happen, and it played out again that way here at the Newton Tournament of Champions. You had 8, you got 14 weight classes in Kansas, and in the boys side, 8 number 1 ranked wrestlers competed in that tournament. Wow. So really strong field.
I mean, what's the schedule like for that type of tournament? Like, how many mats are they running? Like, how do they keep everything on schedule?
Yeah, they've got it down to a science there, and then really I kind of handpick and jump in on the championship matches, but I know for 2 days that tournament it's really running smoothly. Several mats going at one time, and then they really. What's fun about going to the championship matches there's just a lot of pomp and circumstance. It kind of sets up. They turn the lights down, and they do that at other tournaments too. But you get a really nice national anthem. You get the Newton's drum corps playing. You get the dance team out on the mat. Really kind of gets everybody fired up, and then you jump right in, and all of a sudden they throw two wrestlers out on the mat, and you've got a number 1 ranked kid going against a number 2 ranked kid, and away we go. It really just is a fun tournament.
Washburn Rural coming out of there. I mean, what stood out with them? Are they pretty balanced team?
Yeah, they win the tournament by 2 points over Mays, who's number 1 in all classes. Mays wasn't quite at full strength for that tournament, but still a lot of really good wrestlers for the Eagles there, and a couple champions. Rural actually wins the title without having an individual champion. They had 10 placers, but they got two wrestlers to the finals, and Josh Hogan's team just really, I think what they showed there is that they have the mettle for competing at a state tournament where you get a lot of kids on the consolation side who have to grind away and win some backside matches to pile up points. And I think that was probably the takeaway for Rural is the not just winning that title, but the way they did it. Just they were built tournament tough, I guess, is kind of the short answer there. They had kids that hung in there and got on the medal stand and scored enough points to knock off the top ranked team in the state.
You mentioned Mays coming up a little short there, but Everett Joyce, I mean, he continues to be just one to watch.
Yeah, he's the reigning 190-pound champion in Class 6A, and he had one of those matches, where you get the number 1 versus 2 kid in all classes. He wrestled Blue Valley Southwest Tad Forsyth, who won the 5A 175-pound championship last year, and both guys come in undefeated, and Joyce caught him in a cradle in the second period and pinned him. It was really just kind of one of those stunning moments because you know how good, if you've been to a state tournament, you know how good Tad is, and I'm sure maybe made a slip or an error that got him in trouble, and against a caliber wrestler like Everett, Everett didn't let him out off the hook and improved his record to 23-0. Just an outstanding wrestler. And Forsyth will be, he'll be a huge factor in the 5A tournament. That I don't think he had anything taken away from him other than just running into a really good opponent. It was one of those exciting matches, like I said, of top 2 guys in the state. There was another matchup like that. Godar had 3 individual champions, including Oscar Ghana, who defeated Mays' Cooper Smith for the 113-pound title. That was a matchup of top 2 guys in the state. So really, just like I said, you go down that bracket, there's only 14 championship matches, but every one of them really kind of had a storyline that was really significant, I would say.
Scott, thanks for the info, and enjoy your midseason tournaments.
Yeah, I sure will. Thanks for having me, Cole.
That is Scott Paske, one of the staff writers for KSHSAA Covered. That'll do it for Storytime. Here's a hard truth. If your business isn't using AI in its marketing, you've already fallen behind. But there's an advertising agency in Kansas that can get you back up to speed. That agency's name is Meyers Enterprises Media Research. The name sounds dry because the company's run by engineers, not salespeople. They use superior research and analytics that drive results with surgical precision. Marketing doesn't have to be a gritty battle in the trenches. Your business can win from the box. Visit their website, mediaresearch.agency, to learn more. Welcome back on the show. It's Kansas Sports Chatter, and we bring in our next guest today to talk some girls basketball. That is the Fort Scott High School girls basketball coach, and Pechone Stepps. And Coach, appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having us. I was excited when you contacted us, and we're excited that you wanted to reach out and talk about Lady Tiger basketball.
This time of the year, we're kind of almost to that halfway point of the regular season. Like, what's that grind like for a basketball team?
Well, you learn about yourself the first half of the season, I like to say. You have your games before Christmas, and we consider that our preseason where we're trying to work out the kinks. And then you have a couple games, then you start back up after Christmas. So you get a chance to work on some things. And, each night in a game presents a different challenge, and we play a competitive schedule. So we learn about ourselves daily.
You mentioned some of the kinks. Like, what were some of the kinks early on that you were trying to work out, back in December?
Well, one of the things is, even though I have 5 seniors who've played a lot of basketball for me over the course of 4 years, just trying to develop our bench so that 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th player, we're young in that area. So they didn't have a lot of experience, and just trying to get them some early minutes to play varsity. And as you know, you could be playing freshman ball or you could be playing JV ball, and you get those quarters and get that experience, but it's a little different. You as a coach, you wouldn't think it would be, but it's different when you get into a varsity game. And sometimes girls put that extra pressure on themselves, and we don't want that. We want them to continue to relax and play, and no matter what, and no matter what time it is, it's still just a game of basketball. So just try to work through those early kinks with the young girls and try to get them acclimated to varsity girls basketball.
Yeah, I feel like, depth is always good in any type of sport, whatever you're playing. But you mentioned, kind of figuring out that rotation. And I know some basketball coaches like to have, want to go 10, 11, 12 deep. Others might only want to play 6 or 7. What's that perfect range for you as far as how deep you'll go into that bench?
Well, I think each game is different. And depending on the style of play or the team that we're playing, I think it changes from game to game. And that's why we want to prepare each one of our girls to be ready. We kind of take that next man up mentality, but that's why it's so important in our JV and our freshman teams to continue to develop those girls in practice and get those reps and get those fundamentals, because here we're just not even trying to build for 1 year. You're trying to build a whole program. So as girls graduate, other girls slide in, and it's just the next man up mentality.
What's it been like kind of navigating 4A East? I know you still have some, good opponents coming up on your schedule, but I feel like 4A East is just loaded. You got, Amigo and Ottawa, Eudora, yourself, and, Independence. So, what's it been like just being on that east part of the state this year in 4A?
Man, this year it is loaded, probably more than ever that I've seen in my 12 years. And, you try not as a coach to get on the KSHSAA website and kind of see where everybody's falling, but, it's hard sometimes. And we have to take care of the game that's in front of us. We can only play our schedule. We can't play somebody else's schedule. But each night, man, it's a challenge, not only in your non-conference, and we play a good non-conference schedule, but in our own conference. I tell people all the time that there's no nights off in the SEK. Our league is very challenging. And, each game, you got to come in there ready to go and ready to focus and give your attention to that coach. We have a lot of good coaches in that league, a lot of good players. And so we just try to take one game at a time, no matter who we're playing.
Does that make it easier as far as putting that schedule together? Obviously, you mentioned your conference games, but even that non-conference schedule, putting that together, knowing that you really don't have to go too far west, I guess. You can kind of stay close to the border.
Yeah, our athletic director, Coach Delatorre, does a great job with our scheduling on the boys and on the girls' side. He presents some games where we get some great challenges, and it's just going to prepare us for down the line and for tournament play and for league play. So in our league, we play different teams with different styles, and so that's exciting, and it tests you as a team and as a coaching staff to prepare for those games. And then we're getting ready to come up for our midseason tournament, so we'll get a chance to play some other teams, on the 5A level, and we go to Frontenac, Kansas for our midseason tournament. So that's going to be exciting. So we'll play some Missouri teams. We'll play a 5A team in Andover, possibly, depending on how the bracket comes out. So again, each game, presents new challenges, but we're excited to take on those challenges, and it's only going to make us better in the long run. If it's a loss, we learn from a loss. If a win, we learn from the win as well.
You being a Fort Scott guy and now coaching there, what's it been like just being able to coach in your hometown? Oh,
it's exciting. When you get a chance to you grow up in Fort Scott, and Fort Scott has a great tradition in just all sports, football, basketball, track, baseball. Our baseball team just won a state championship. And we have a lot of great people, great support. I think Fort Scott's one of the towns that probably travels. In my opinion, I could be biased and selfish on that. We travel the best in all our sports. We have great community support. And just getting a chance to come back and coach in your hometown is always special. And now I'm old enough now where I've got a chance to coach some of my teammates and classmates' kids. So that's a little different, but it's exciting to be able to do that as well.
Now, those former teammates, are they giving you advice on their kids when they send them your way?
Oh yeah, you always get that. Everybody wants to tell you how to do a certain thing, but that's exciting. That's part of it. Parents are going to be parents, and those are the tricky things you have to navigate as a coach. But we have great community support, and it's just exciting. That's just part of what you sign up for as a coach.
Did you always know you wanted to be a coach? When did that settle in for you?
I think when you're growing up, outside of your parents, I think your teachers and your coaches have the biggest impact on your life. I was always a sports fan, and Dad put a ball in our hands early on, being young. And so, I coach and I played basketball in college. My middle brother, Travis, he played football here at Fort Scott High School, won a state championship, and he went on to play at Pitt State and was All-American there. My younger brother, Trent, he was a 3-sport athlete as well, but he played he won a state championship in basketball, so I'm a little jealous about that. Both of them got a state championship in high school. I was close. We ended up getting third, but we fell a little short. But he went on to play football and quarterback at Coffeyville and finished up his career at Washburn. So we have a sports family. Both my parents are educators, so they instilled, education first, and let the education take you as far as you need to go.
I mean, I feel like, you could be coaching anywhere in the country or in the world and you're going to want to win right there. But like being from Fort Scott, does that any like extra motivation to, to see that program succeed? Oh,
of course. One of our slogans is having that Tiger pride. And I think you carry that Tiger pride with you, wherever you go, wherever you're representing, in whatever form of life that you're in. So whether you're on Wall Street or whether you're an educator or whether you're a coach, it's always a sense of pride of representing your hometown and getting them on the map in different states or different towns or different cities.
Who did you learn from the most as far as, developing your coaching style or just, things that you took from or somebody that you took from, for your coaching philosophy? Like, who did you learn from the most?
I think just coaches in general had a great impact on who you play for. I think it started with my, in middle school. I had a great coach, great coaches there in middle school. Then in high school, Coach Miller was my freshman coach, and he's since passed, but he did a great job in just teaching fundamentals. Don Miller, and then in high school, Danny Brown, who I played for, was a longtime coach here at our high school. Just learned a lot from him, and then it went on to my college coaches at Independence Community College, then at Northern State University and Aberdeen, South Dakota. And so just along the way, I've been fortunate enough to just have coaches to make a great impact on me, and I learned a lot, and I carry some of those lessons that I learned from them today in my coaching style.
How do you keep learning in the game? Like, so, I feel like it's a constant sport of any sport that, you have to continue that education, if you will. Like, so how do you keep learning? What are you trying to pick up now?
Well, I think, one of the biggest things is I think you hire great people around you. I have a great staff around me who's always eager to try new things. And that's always good to get some input. I have some great friends that are still in the coaching business at all levels, whether it be high school, whether it be junior college, whether it be college on the men's and women's side, because I've coached on both sides, coached college men's basketball and college women's basketball. So you can lean on them for ideas and support as well. And then again, what you pick up, as any coach, you watch a lot of ball on TV. So you go through and you see some things and you push the DVR and record it and say, this might work for us. Or you might still inbounds play from Bill Self or somebody like that. So, those are always good. And then, my mom she thinks she's on the staff too sometimes. And so she's always watching something, say, hey, you need to put this in for your girl. So you get it from all areas, but you take it in stride.
Now, does she get to sit on the bench from time to time if she has all this advice?
Oh, no. But she's across the way. I can see her in my peripheral. She's across the way when she comes to the game. But when I come back to the house, we have a coach's roundtable. So she tells me what we did wrong or what we did right.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, Coach, I appreciate your time and best of luck the rest of the season.
I appreciate it. Thank you for what you do for sports, and thank you for covering us. Go Big Red.
That is Pechone Stepps, the head coach of the Fort Scott girls basketball team. We'll have more of the show right after this. SPX Specialized Video Wall Solutions. Your gym needs SPX. It is time for some basketball chatter with our next guest. It is Robert Kelly, one of the scouts for Prep Girls Hoops Kansas. Robert, appreciate coming back on the show. And you sent me a message earlier about some crazy stats, just about the number of commits in the 2026 class. What was that?
Well, so far, and it's honestly, I'm pretty impressed given the time of year that it is there's about 50 girls basketball players committed to play college ball next year. And that's a pretty good number on average, anywhere between 85 and 110. COVID kind of affected a lot of things and all the weird things that have happened to the college level with that. But there's, given 50, there's still a lot of opportunity for players to find places to play. And even come midsummer, there'll be 8, 10, 12 colleges that I know of that are still looking for graduated seniors. So don't give up hope.
Yeah, that recruiting process never stops. All right, so let's shine the spotlights on some of the girls that you wanted to feature here on today's show. Who stood out to you so far?
Well, a player that's new to the KSHSAA environment is Carly Smith from Beloit. She's a 5'6" combo guard. She transferred in from playing homeschool ball, and she transferred in having already scored 1,500 points. I know the club that she's been playing with for the past couple of years, and she has been an impact player. Beloit was competitive already, and picking her up, they're 9-1. They're in the Larned sub-state for 3A, and I think they have a shot to make it to state this year. And most people know how hard it is to get to state in the 3A levels because it's pretty brutal in a lot of places.
Yeah, especially that. I feel like that central part of the state, whether it's north central or south central, I feel like there's a lot of good teams that are hovering in that 2, 3A section. So yeah, I agree. But a good addition for Beloit. Who else is on your list so far?
One player that I think doesn't get enough attention, and I have liked from the moment she stepped on the floor as a freshman. I have her ranked number 3 in the class of 27 and have for a long time. Is a 6'1" power forward for Shawnee Mission Northwest. Her name is Ruth Gibson. She 2 years ago as a freshman, they were at the state tournament, and she and one of her teammates, Gabby, I can't remember her last name. The girls graduated last year, went off to play college ball. And there was a last second shot that basically pitted her and Gabby against a couple of Derby players. And Derby had to make a last shot to take the lead with like under 10 seconds to go. They made it, got down the other end of the floor. Shawnee Mission Northwest missed a 3-point shot that hit the rim and didn't go in. What that showed me even then was the 2 best players on the floor. Of one of them was her as a freshman. And Ruth she's fast. She's got handle. She plays on the wing. She can play the 4. She's strong. She's aggressive. And she just is not getting much attention. She's averaging about 10 points a game. I don't have the rest of the stat line on her. But she is a heck of a player, and I think is very much very much overlooked. I think in terms of how tough she is. And Shawnee Mission Northwest is, that Sunflower League is brutal.
Yeah,
and they've lost a few games, especially before. In December, they were lost. I think they hadn't found their footing yet, but after January 1, a lot of teams step on the floor and they're better than they were already beforehand, and they're that. And they're just on the outside, I think, of the top 10 ranked teams in the state, and they have a big game coming up with Mill Valley. I think is tomorrow night. And I think if they can get a win there, that'll catch people's attention.
Yeah, another one on that list of really talented players out of the KC area. Who else do you have?
Well, I think you can't talk about players that are standing out and not have Eve Long from Olathe South in the conversation. Olathe South was was winning games early in December while she was still recuperating from a knee injury she suffered late in the summer. And they got her back right after the first of the year. And she's just tearing things up. She's averaging more than 32 points a game, nearly 10 rebounds, 3.2 steals. She is been selected just recently. I think it's by a Naismith, maybe. It's like a midseason all America team or something like that. She's one of the players that are on that. I'd have to go look for the exact information. I just saw it in passing yesterday on Twitter, and she is. I've seen her a lot over the last couple of years, and late last year, is when I first saw her. Finally, I saw her get the next step of "I'm going to kick your butt" attitude with the ball.
Yeah,
and she shoots it from the three. She'll jump over you. She'll go around you. I mean, there's really, it's maybe a couple players in the state that physically have the ability to compete with her. So Olathe Eve Long is going to be a player to watch. And coming up next week at the Mid-America Classic in McPherson, if you get a chance to go to that, you will maybe get a chance for Olathe South and the number one team in the state, Shawnee Mission South, to play each other in the semifinals. And that will be maybe a preview of the state championship game. So I think if people get a chance to see that next week in McPherson, you better get there and see it.
Yeah, I feel like Eve Long, I mean, you talk about, like worth the tickets. Like if you're going to go buy, a ticket to go see one game or some player, I feel like Eve Long is definitely one of your shots there. But yeah, really talented, exciting player. Glad she's here in Kansas.
And she doesn't have to score to make, even with all the scoring, she makes everybody else around her better.
Yeah.
And one of the things about Olathe South is they're still missing two players. The point guard that started for them at the state tournament 2 years ago has had some foot and leg problems and has not stepped on the floor since. She's not playing right now. And they've got a 6'1" power forward that is a 27, Alexis Allen. She hasn't played yet either. She's been injured. So if they get everybody back,
yeah, scary times. Hey, anyone else on your list?
A lot of teams, it's going to be pick a number. It's not whether they're going to win. It's pick a number. they're just that good. But she's a great kid, very friendly, very talkative, and she's just a wonderful player to watch.
Anyone else on your list?
Yeah, another overlooked player I think people need to be paying attention to is a senior from Clifton Clyde. Sevi Wirtz is a 5'6" point guard, shooting guard for them. They have the misfortune of being one of a Division I teams in the Twin Valley League, which last year I think they had two teams win state championships, and two teams like Lynn and Hanover were in the state championship game against each other. And in that, Wabansie dropped down from 2A to 1A Division I this year. So Centralia, Wabansie, Clifton, Clyde. I mean, they're at the Twin Valley League tournament that's running. That ran. They've only got a couple 3 losses, and they were in the number 9 seed. That's how brutal that Twin Valley League is. But she is a heck of an athlete, excels in many sports. Her shooting's a little bit down this year, but she is a career 34% 3-point shooter. She's averaging more than 26 points a game, and she shoots more than 80% from the line. She's got a sister, Shay, that is a forward for Cloud County too. So Sevi, who's a senior this year, is uncommitted, and I'm hoping that she gets to find a home that fits what she can do. So.
Well, Robert, again, appreciate your time. And, man, as a basketball fan, there's not much better than all these midseason tournaments, so I'll let you enjoy the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on again. Hopefully I'll guest again in the future.
All right, we'll hit you up. That's Robert Kelly, one of the scouts for Prep Girls Hoops Kansas. Are you looking for a new way to promote your business or organization? Do you want to get your message out to a statewide audience that loves high school sports in both urban and rural areas? Kansas Sports Chatter has advertising opportunities from commercials, sponsoring specific guests, product placements, and even a premier sponsorship. Let Kansas Sports Chatter promote your brand. Contact ksportschatter@gmail.com for more advertising details. That's ksportschatter@gmail.com. Come join the chatter. Welcome back on the show for Kansas Sports Chatter. It's time to talk some basketball with our next guest, and that is Curt Graves. He is the head coach of the Tescott boys basketball team. Hey, Coach, appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, this time of the year, like, what are you trying to work on? Like, what are some of the specifics that you're trying to get going with your team?
So we had a really good run. Of course, we got started late. Our boys football team made it to the state semifinals, and was in that Final Four group. And so we missed that first couple of weeks of practice. And so that showed, I think, in our first game. But then we went on a 7-game winning streak. We've struggled of late. So I think for us right now, one, it's staying healthy. A lot of sickness around, and we've had a couple injuries. So getting healed up, managing that, and then just maintaining some confidence in our shooting, in what we do, and then adjusting a little bit. People, by now you're getting scouted, and people see what your tendencies are. So really working on a lot of little things just to get in that second and third tier and second and third option of what we do offensively, or getting that second trap or that second phase of our defensive schemes, making sure we got our help side. We're helping down on the post, being able to recover, just things like that. A lot of fine tuning things, a lot of fundamental things. It's interesting. When I was an assistant coach at the college level, we worked on fundamental aspects of the game. When I was once a junior high boys coach, we worked on fundamentals, and even at the high school varsity level, we continued to work on fundamental things. So
you mentioned, the football team, and especially, the football is the big one for boys basketball that, can butt right up against, the start of your season, maybe a week or so off. Like you mentioned, like, how do you go about combating that? Obviously, love to see the success from the fall sports, but how do you go about combating that as a winter sport coach?
Well, I will tell you the last year, because we've had that a couple of years in a row now. And I've had these guys, some of these guys I coached when they were in junior high in the summer. And then they've played a couple of years for me. So installing some things in the summer, having some camps and playing a little bit in the summer helps us. And then, in those first 2 or 3 or 4 days, this year we hit it harder than we have in the past. The first couple of years I tried to play our way into shape, and that didn't seem to work as well, because about the time you get into shape, you hit Christmas break. So this year we start out a little more diligent with our conditioning. You come in football shape, but basketball shape is a different conditioning a little bit. So you have a good base when you come in from playing football or running cross country. But there is a difference in that continuous conditioning that it takes to go up and down the basketball court. So we're a little more diligent in what we do to get conditioned. And then hopefully a lot of stuff we did right out of the gates had been review, and there was some familiarity. And so kind of that front loading is pretty key for us.
You touched on, trying to, this time of the year, trying to build up that confidence in some of your shooters. Like, anything specific that you can do to help that along? Is there anything that stands out?
Oh, I wish I knew better. For one, we're really young. We have one senior on our team. We play significantly a group of 2 freshmen and 4 sophomores right now. We would be playing 5 sophomores. I had one separate his shoulder recently. But right now, last night, the core group that played our game was 2 freshmen, 4 sophomores, and 1 junior. My 1 senior was homesick. So we're really young. And so confidence, we've talked a lot about shot selection. With a couple of our guys struggling right now, we've talked about doing the other things on the floor really well, and trying to get out of our own heads, but get into the flow of the game, in the game, taking good shots, making sure our feet are set, making sure we're open, being a little more patient at times, and then practice-wise, we go back to your form shooting every day. Nothing cures confidence in shooting than seeing the ball go through the basket. So a lot of form shooting, a lot of elbow shots, a lot of block shots before we step out too far and shoot the 3 and stuff like that. So I think that's one. We put in a lot of drills to try to get us shooting at game speed. But I think there's a balance between a lot of form shooting and then a lot of shooting off of the move. But you need a balance of those 2 things. Can't just form shoot for 2 hours. But if all we ever do is shoot off the move and miss, then we're not. We've got to have a balance of those.
Curt Graves, head coach of the Tescott boys basketball team, joining us here. You talk about that youth, I know, probably every coach would just love a roster full of seniors that are veterans and have been through it. But at the same time, does it kind of excite you that knowing that you do have those freshmen, sophomore, they're getting this experience now, and just, what can be obviously the focus this year, but what you have for the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, it is exciting. And, as a small school, you kind of ebb and flow with that. And so I think the real key for us is how we develop over the next 2 or 3 years, and how we not only develop individually as athletes and players, but how we develop as a team. Do we understand how to be a team? Do we understand how to be unified, and to lift each other up, that sort of thing. But it is exciting. And I do think too, it's that balance of how do you honor those upperclassmen and continue to have them be good leaders while also allowing the younger some additional leeway, because, when you're young and you're thrust into some varsity experiences, you're going to make some mistakes that maybe you have to let go, that maybe a junior or senior shouldn't be making, or shouldn't, needs more correction. And so that balance of honoring those upperclassmen and holding them to an appropriate standard, but also bringing your young guys along and helping people understand the difference in how you're coaching those individuals with their experience levels.
Developing players, I'm sure like many schools, you have athletes that are multi-sport athletes, and they're focusing on other things, but even the individual developments, how much do you kind of break down, okay, hey, this is what, once the season does come to an end, all right, this is what I want, to see from you, or things you can improve?
So we're a super small school, and so our athletes are pulled in every direction. I have a couple of my players, they're really good Scholars Bowl participants, and so you balance between football, basketball, and track, and so I think it's really great here. Our coaches and our coaching staff really communicate well. We work well together. Every head coach is at summer, our weights and conditioning. We've added some plyos and some footwork stuff in our summer conditioning programs and weights programs. And so I think coaches working together and having that synergy to be able to help every athlete I've got some really good football players that aren't as good at basketball. And I've got some really good basketball players that maybe aren't as good at football. But having coaches work together to make better athletes and develop them, because there are skills on the basketball court that make you a better lineman and helps your footwork on the offensive or defensive line. There are skills in football that help you absorb contact when you're going to the basket in a basketball game. So I think that cross training is really important. I think that teamwork amongst the coaching staff of all the sports and being able to speak the same language is good. Basketball skill development, we play quite a bit in the summer here. And then some of the skill development outside of camp is I leave that up to our kids a little bit and our athletes. My own kid is a freshman this year for us. And he's a gym rat. And so we're up shooting, working on ball handling, working on moves frequently. Other kids sometimes come up when we're doing those things. But also you have to know your players. You have to know what their aspirations are. And so I'll be honest with you. The older I get, the more I realize sometimes we got to let kids be kids too. So, sometimes less can be more when it comes to motivation and some of those things. We played last night. We've got a game Monday, but we're taking today off. It's just sometimes we got to balance those things out and around. And so I think, that development and that off season, a little bit keys. Our coaching staff works well together all the way through. All of our head coaches are involved. I think that's really important. And then just balancing what our kids' aspirations are, what their goals are, where they want to be, and just knowing your kids intimately in those ways so that you can set some goals and meet those goals.
It's always a fine juggling act. Hey, Coach, appreciate the time and best of luck the rest of the season.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
That is Curt Graves, head coach of the Tescott boys basketball team, and we'll have more of the show right after this.
Whether it's a Friday night football game or a Saturday Scholars Bowl tournament, there are many people behind the scenes to make these activities function. The Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Student Advisory Team would like to thank all those who make these events happen for our students. Without school administrators, event workers, custodians, officials, transportation personnel, and office staff, these events would not be possible. Your hard work and dedication allow students throughout the state to participate in the activities that they love.
Welcome back on the show. It's time for our next level talent segment, an opportunity to talk to high school athletes that used to compete in Kansas that are now at the college or university level. And today's guest, Amaya Perez, a member of the Newman University women's basketball team and out of Dodge City High School. Amaya, I appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, you go back to those high school days. What was it like being in Dodge City?
Well, thanks for having me first off. But secondly, Dodge City was great growing up in, and I think it was a small community, and everybody was like working with one another. So playing basketball, you kind of knew everybody. I knew all of my upperclassmen, all the upperclassmen kind of knew me. So it was really good, and it was an easy transition to go into high school basketball there.
The basketball culture in Dodge City, as a kid, what was that experience like for you and just, eventually getting to high school?
Yeah, I think our high school coaches, the Snodgrasses, they were married. They knew our class pretty well. There was a bunch of us in that class that was, loved basketball, and our parents loved it. But we also had a lot of siblings or cousins or family members that were older than us. So we were always really involved, going to games. And so we had a good connection with the coaches before we even got to high school, which was nice.
Competing in the Western Athletic Conference, what was that competition like? And what were some of the more enjoyable games that you had in your career?
Yeah. I had a lot of teammates. We had a team, or my AAU team was all out of Southwestern Kansas. So we played a lot of the people that I was teammates with, which was, it's always fun doing that. And then actually a lot of them are in the MIAA now. So it's really interesting, we had a few from Pitt, there's some from Hayes, and, Telexa Weeder is at Hayes now, but she played in Goodland, and we always played in the Goodland tournament. And, my senior year, we won that tournament, which was really fun and exciting and definitely one of my favorite things there.
What is the rivalry with Dodge City and Garden City like? I mean, just not only in basketball, but just in all sports. And can you describe that rivalry?
Yeah, I mean, it's to the point where I know our wrestlers compete for like a cowbell or something like that.
Okay.
Football goes crazy and basketball is always super intense. But what you would like to know now is my high school coach is now from Dodge is now the coach for Garden City.
Snodgrass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when she told us that, we were all like, well, what is going on? But, it's all love. We love Garden City. We were always friends with those people, but it became like pretty competitive, and you always wanted to win because it was bragging rights for the next year. So.
Well, you talk about Kelly Snodgrass. What was her personality like as a head coach?
Yeah, I would say Kelly Snodgrass was definitely the brains. Like, you could see that she was thinking through things. She always made the right plays. And then her husband, David Snodgrass, was like that. He wanted you to be tenacious. He was going to bring that, attack mentality out of you. So they worked really, really well together.
Was basketball always your main sport growing up, or when did that kind of become your focus?
Yeah, I think I started playing in first grade. I tried soccer, was terrible at it. And, I had some other sports that I was just kind of good at, being athletic. But basketball was something that I actually enjoyed doing, and I grew up playing, and all of my cousins and family and friends played it. So
what was the recruitment process like for you and eventually choosing Newman?
Yeah. I actually committed with under Spence, who was a coach here a while ago, my sophomore year of high school. So I committed to Newman pretty quickly. I love my family. I can't be too far from them. And they actually moved up here to Wichita. So I just knew I loved it then. And I was pretty close to Spence and everything. And then, with my freshman year, we had a different coach. And now with Amy Briggs, but throughout that whole recruitment process, I just felt like the coaches actually wanted to get to know me. They cared a lot about defense, which is obviously something that I care a lot about, and, defensive-minded coaches. And so, yeah, that's what that was kind of like, just talking about what the plans are.
What do you like about defense so much?
I think, honestly, and this might be a little hot take, but defense is all, it's energy, it's effort, it's, just being locked in on every possession. And, on offense, you cannot dictate, you cannot make every single shot, right? Or you're not guaranteed to make every single shot, but defense, you can go back on defense and play hard and still do great. So I think defense is something for me that I know I can control. And so that's why I love it so much. You dictate how you play on defense.
You took that, that redshirt year last season. What was that experience like for you, and what you learned during that redshirt year?
Yeah, I've never been injured in my life before, and I'm going to be a teacher, so this might sound bad, but patience is not my best virtue. So I think that kind of taught me, to sit back, and also helped me see that mistakes are common, not be so hard on myself, because I watched my teammates, when they just got over things so quickly. And that redshirt year just kind of showed me a different side of basketball that I maybe had not have been able to see before.
What has it been like competing in the MIAA? Obviously, I think, a lot of people are in consensus that, it's probably, if not one of the best, conferences in the country for basketball. What has it been like competing in the MIAA?
Yeah. I think every single team is a little bit different, but every single one is good at what they do. You're going to have a team that's going to be, you see them in there's shooters, or there's a team that's super athletic, or there's a team that's super strong. So just having to be able to guard multiple different types of people, and everybody who steps on the court can play, which sometimes you don't see in a lot of conferences. So it's been fun. Like I said, I like defense, so I like the different matchups I get.
Anything that you learned while at Dodge City High School that you feel like has really helped you out to have the success you're having now?
Yeah, kind of like I said, that tenacious attitude, right? I'm going to get on the floor. I'm going to go and help side defense. I'm going to sprint out at my defender, and I think I got that from high school, definitely. And, I had a lot of teammates that went to play college basketball. So having them to have to guard them in practice, I think helped me kind of guard good players.
Amaya, appreciate the time. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Thank you so much.
That is Amaya Perez, a member of the Newman University women's basketball team and out of Dodge City High School, part of our Next Level Talents. Are you a person that's always on the go? You can still easily keep up with Kansas Sports Chatter with the audio podcast. Hear each episode on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Make sure to follow the Kansas Sports Chatter podcast.
All right, the Freeze Your Tail Off episode of Kansas Sports Chatter is just about done. Thanks to our sponsors, SPX LED video walls. Get it installed in your high school gym. Contact SPX. Also, Wheatland Electric, delivering energy to more than 20,000 Kansas homes and businesses. along with Barton Community College. Start your next chapter at Barton, always enrolling, bartoncccc.edu. And Meyers Enterprises, stand out from the noise, grow your business, schedule a free consultation with Meyers Enterprises. That'll wrap things up for the majority of the show, but we got a nice little treat for you here, a radio highlight from Erik Stone. He is the voice of the Russell High School Broncos. Here's one of his radio highlights to close out today's show.
Middleton has an opening, fakes the jumper, passes back to Mooney. Long three for Jake. He caught it again. 3 trays for Jake Mooney. Russell leads 29-21, their largest lead. Cleveland Corman with the basketball now. Corman guarded by Hernandez. Ball off the foot of Phillipsburg, and here's Hernandez to Middleton. Middleton bounce pass back to Hernandez. Kick out to Mooney. Mooney, another 3, and it goes in! Another tray for Jake. Timeout, Phillipsburg. 5:07 to go in the second quarter. Russell leads 32-21. Back in a moment. Bronco basketball.